So this is day 3 in the Smokies, and it is a terrible, rainy, stormy weather day today. There are all kinds of weather alerts that keep popping up on my console here that talk about high winds and thunderstorms and tornadoes, and I have no idea. It puts different counties up there, and I have no idea what county I'm in, so all I know is it is foggy and rainy and not terribly windy though, starting out this morning, so that's good. So I've decided to go up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is always a nice place to photograph, and I've been here in the spring before, and it's very nice. There's all kinds of interesting colors emerging, and the occasional dogwood, and if you're lucky enough to get some fog once we get up higher, then that's really, really good too. They actually closed the road over the mountain in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, so you can't get from the south side to the north side right now. So given that I'm on the south side, that decision to go up on the Blue Ridge Parkway is a good one. Not much else to do, and so I'm happy about that. I really like the Blue Ridge. There's so many places to pull over, and you can just photograph pretty close to the car, and that's especially nice if it's going to be rainy and stormy. So I'm excited to see what the morning and the day holds, and I'm ready to get going. Well, this is my first picture of the day in this very rainy day in the Smoky Mountains. I'm actually on the Blue Ridge Parkway, just driving up and down and doing very leisurely photography right out of the back of the car, literally. But I pulled off at one of the many turnouts along the Blue Ridge, and I found a really pretty dogwood set against a nice forest scene with a beautiful branch of other trees arching over top, sort of sheltering and protecting it visually. And it's in a nice soft rain, and so it's sort of there's a receding mist back behind the picture, so it just looks soft and really, really beautiful. So I've got the 150 to 300 on the Pentax, and f/16, couple of seconds, zoomed out pretty far, and it's really fortunate that I can just be under the tailgate here of the Jeep and staying pretty dry. So I really, really like this picture. It's one of those that kind of makes you go, wow, when you first see it and then see it on the back of the camera. So I'm very excited about this one. Really sort of typifies the Smoky Mountains in the spring. Soft rain, a little bit of fog, and beautiful dogwood. So, and the tree shapes I love. So, yeah, I'm real excited about this one. Yeah, so the fog has just rolled in a little bit, and the picture looks completely different now. It's more just an overall foggy, misty scene, and I'm not sure which I like better. Do I like the first one where the foreground was more distinct and clear, but it was then sort of the fog was receding into the background, or the way it is now where it's more overall foggy? It's nice to have a choice, that's for sure. This just keeps getting better. So here I am under the dark cloth, trying to show you what the image looks like, holding the video camera upside down so you can see it. This is my longest lens that I have right now, the 300. 2 seconds at 32.5, and you can see it gets a lot more in the image than I was able to zoom in with the Pentax. So I'm not sure whether I like it wider like this or zoomed in. I think I like it zoomed in a little, but we'll see how this film turns out. That's really neat. So it turns out I didn't really like the first image I made anyway, the one with very little fog. But the rest of them, after the fog rolled in, were much better. Now, the first one was a very tight view, which really just had one large overarching branch. And that was the one I initially thought I was going to like. But then after that, I pulled back a little bit and shot another view with a couple branches above. And I sort of liked that one even better. And then after that, I brought out the view camera and started working on that. Well, the longest lens I had for that was much wider than what I shot with the Pentax. And so even though when I was shooting it, I wasn't sure that I liked it because it was so wide and that wasn't my original vision, I think I've ended up liking it much better. I often find that the last image in a series turns out to be my favorite. I guess because I keep working a scene until I'm satisfied. And in this case, I think my first instinct, which was a closer view, but even with the Pentax, I started widening out. And then because I didn't have a longer lens for the view camera, I ended up with that much wider view. And so, interestingly, while on scene, I was fairly certain that the tighter view was going to be what I liked best. But now I really think I like that widest view that I made with the view camera. And I'm sure interested to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment below which version you like best. Well, I just stopped and made a couple images here at this little hillside, and the mist was beautifully blowing up this slope, and just as quickly as I got my pictures, it just completely socked in and there's nothing to see hardly. So that's how quickly stuff can change here in the Smokies when this mist is blowing through. But it was a couple different compositions here with fingers of mist blowing up this hillside and old pine trees sticking up, and an interesting foreground that was kind of nice. And then this other one was that was a horizontal, and then this other one has some sort of downed trees in the foreground and one fir tree sticking up, and that was kind of nice too. So anyway, hopefully you can hear me with all this wind, but just as quickly as I was able to get a couple of exposures made on each one, it was all over. But it was a lot of fun. Well, I stopped and worked on a couple little waterfall details here. The sun's been going in and out. Of course, it's in right now, but we're out, depending on how you think of it. Take two. The sun's been going in and out, so it's been tricky with the exposures. I'm trying it with the view camera, so I used both Provia and Ektar, and hopefully I got something. So I'm not a huge waterfall guy, but you know, they look pretty good and it was kind of fun to play with. So anyway, time to pack up and head on down the road. I'm still up on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it's starting to clear off and be a little bit nicer than it was earlier. So there may still be more pictures to be had before sunset. Well, I ended up not liking those waterfall cascade images after all, and turns out they were all ruined with light leaks, so it was just as well. But the weather was starting to clear, so I decided to drive back down off the Blue Ridge Parkway towards the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and see what the conditions were like there. Along the way, I stopped to pick up some trash. Always leave it better than you found it. Back in the park, there was lots of high water and flooding from all the rain. The wildlife were out grazing in the afternoon. The gates to the road over the mountain were still closed, but I managed to find a couple of tree images to work on to close out the day. This was my last day of the trip, and I'll be heading home early tomorrow. It was a good trip filled with exciting weather and wonderful photographic opportunities. In the next video, we'll take a look at the film, so please stay tuned for that. I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.